don't forget to subscribe my channel. Hang duk mana? Sas.
Assalamualaikum, selamat datang lagi ke channel Hang Duk Mana. Mari kita dengar respon Rafizi Ramli terhadap Tuan Ibrahim Tuan yang berkata tak mustahil kerajaan Anwar Tumbang Lepas Prn nanti. Dan Rafizi juga menjangkal dakwaan adanya gelombang PN untuk menumbangkan Pakatan Harapan dan kajian perpaduan pada PRN nanti. Okey, kita dengar respon Rafizi Ramli. Tak akan nanti komen macam biasa.
Government has claimed that the Anwar Ibrahim government can topple after the state election. There's a possibility of
No. They can continue. Sometime this week, I will share with the public to set the record straight with all this propaganda daripada PN that there will be another wave of youth wave lah, Selangor akan jatuh, Penang akan jatuh. I mean, if you recall, when the going gets tough for PH, usually I take charge of the narrative straight away. If we were going up the hill, sama macam last general election, you will hear from me earlier on because I need to manage the narrative. The reason why I have not said a single word all these months, walaupun macam-macam claim, is because based on our data and based on our survey, and I think we do a lot more than PN. And PKR's strength as a party is our data analytics more than anyone else. And I will respond for the first time this week, maybe tomorrow or the next day, just to show that all these claims ni sebenarnya tidak berasas. And I think we will be able to prove that if anything, yang patut bimbang bukan PH, yang patut bimbang adalah PN, because their fortress are not as safe as they claim. Tapi tak apalah, I'll keep the suspense. Tuan Ibrahim can say whatever, kerana logically, how can federal government fall after the state election? Macam mana? Undi tak berjaya? Will not happen. Lompat parti? Cannot. The block a block of parties leaving kerajaan perpaduan, even then numerically quite difficult, because kalau katakanlah BN keluar, the government stays. Kalau katakanlah another big block keluar, the government stays. And it's just too numerically difficult, and especially bila saya tunjukkan nanti dalam 2-3 hari akan datang bahawa keadaan sokongan itu tidaklah seperti yang dicanang-canang oleh PN. Then I think I was just waiting for the right time to tell that it's not as what they claim. Jadi once I think we issue the data and we start sharing the data with the public, I think hopefully it will slow down lah all these speculation. And I think it's best, my advice kepada PN begini tau. The reason why I didn't respond politically too much over 6 months, because as government we have a job to do. We want to fix the economy, we want to fix things. Jadi dulu saya begitu aktif, kalau ada je komen I will jawab, but now I didn't, because that is the job of the government. Likewise, the job of the opposition is to play a good opposition. And how do you play a good opposition? You focus on our policy, you focus on what you can do better, you focus on explaining why didn't you do certain things when you were in government for 33 months. Itu cara yang paling baik untuk PN berkempen dalam pilihan raya ini. Bukannya membina persepsi akan ada gelombang akan jatuh itu. Ini cerita wayang yang tidak akan membaiki kehidupan rakyat. So my challenge to them is that let's go into this election focus into who can govern this country better. And governance of this country is about integrity, is about competency, is about policy. It is not about Melayu lawan Cina, siapa lagi hebat, siapa lagi ramai pengikut. It's, siapa boleh mengumpulkan konvoi motor terbesar. I mean, how is that going to help us? What? You kumpul 20,000 orang naik motor keliling satu Malaysia, and then what? Kita boleh bayar hutang kita. I mean, it's like, that's the reason yang I didn't reply, because I think it's getting a bit ridiculous. Nak masuk election, mereka semua pernah jadi menteri. They were there before us. They have more administrative experience than we are. So tell us lah, how, if you think that you can do better, tell us how exactly you can do better. That has not happened. And I think, saya minta supaya dalam kempen pilihan raya negeri ni kita fokus kepada bahagian-bahagian itulah.
Maybe 98% tadi di 6 negeri lah, hampir selesai pembagian.
Ya, di 6 negeri.
Maybe top PKR, top PH people have said that Sunday is the date of meeting to finalize 100% of the seats. Is that true?
I don't know. We have PKR meeting. We'll go through the PKR meeting first. Then I think whatever that we need to do to finalize, I think let's keep it between us and the PM.
Rafi, how do you see the economy, the still elevated inflation and the weaker ringgit affecting PHPN's chances going into the state elections?
So far, this is what the our data shows over the last 6 months lah. From January to April, month after month there was an increase in economic approval rating. Basically, the public was happy with how we built the narrative, and obviously it drops in May, because May is when ringgit started to devalue and the stock exchange. But unlike in previous years, especially during BN's or PN's time, for the time being, and we only have 2 months number, for the time being, that doesn't seem to affect the support level. So you see, voters are getting more complicated in the sense that at the same time, when they are asked, are you happy with the economic situation? Yes, there was a drop in May. It was building up to April, and it was dropped, and that was attributed to ringgit semua. But when they were asked which party they would vote, there was no obvious change or drop from April to May. So I think my view is this. I think in terms of decided voters lah, people who have made up their mind, they have made up their mind. And in some states, PH is way ahead. In some states, PN is ahead. In a few states, it's actually 50-50. Those people who have made up their mind, kan? That leaves about 30% fence-sitters, remaining fence-sitters. It's premature to tell now how these fence-sitters will be affected by the economic sentiment. But usually, fence-sitters do pay attention to economic sentiment. So it's important for us to convince the public, especially the fence-sitters, with a better narrative, and to convince that while all these problems are legacy, they are complicated, they are not entirely in our control, but the federal government has all the plans lined up to manage it one by one. So that's what we intend to do through narrative economic Madani, which will come out in about a month from now. And I think once we do that, it will be able to convince those fence-sitters that as far as the diagnosis is concerned, yes, that is the economy, but they will give the confidence to the government that compared to the previous PN administration, unity government has structured and more creative way to manage these economic problems. So I'm still hopeful that we will be able to have the upper hand that we have now in terms of economic narrative, and we are managing it.
Okey tuan-tuan, komen saya lah. Ya betul lah, sebelum ni kalau kita biasa kita lihat Rafizi ni awal-awal dia dah tunjuk data dia. So dia kata nak Rafizi nak tunjuk data, kita tengok data Rafizi nanti. So biasanya kalau data yang dikeluarkan Rafizi ni agak tepat lah. Sebelum ni yang masa PRU pun Rafizi cakap Pakatan Harapan mungkin akan menang dalam 80 ke 100. So menanglah 84 kan. So ini kita nampak PN ni dia cakap dia akan menang, siap nak rampas Selangor ni, 9 ni cerita dia besar sangat ni. Kita takut nanti di Kedah pula dia orang yang hilang negeri tu nanti. So kita sebagai penyokong kerajaan persekutuan dan pihak Anwar Ibrahim, jangan termakan dakyah daripada PN ni. Okey, jumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum.